Hi everyone. Hi. Hope you're doing great. This is my final, well not final, my last draw along session for the year. So I'm just waiting for this all to hook up and also waiting for people to get on. I've got myself set up on my computer as well, so I can see if anyone has comments in that. So I will just, if you do have any questions and comments as we're going, just pop them in and I'll check the, because I struggle to see them on my phone, but I will go and, oh, don't know what I did then. I'll go and check over on my computer. Okay, so hi there, Terry, I think it was someone, or Tracy, someone said hi. Morning, Andrea. Yep. Oh, it's so hard to see on my phone, and it's not because I need glasses on. It's because it kind of fades as each comment comes up. They fade out, so it's a bit hard to see. Hi from Texas. Is that Connie? Maybe. Okay. I'll just try not to read them, but yeah, like I said, if you have any questions, pop them in the comments, and then I'll have a look at my computer as we're going and make sure I answer them. Okay, so I'll just say hi to everyone. Like I said, I can't see these very well, so this is our third draw along, our Christmas draw along for December. And it's our final one because, of course, next Monday is Christmas Day. So I think I won't be doing a Tuesday chat at all next week. Normally, my standard Tuesday chat is just me talking about art-related things. But for this Christmas period, I've been doing these draw-alongs. I'll go back to my normal Tuesday chat, but we'll give next week a miss because it's Boxing Day, of course, next week. So we won't worry about it then. And then after that, I'll be back to normal. Okay, a couple of things I did want to mention before we get started. If anyone overseas or in Australia, but if you want these quickly, Australia's probably better. If you want a 2024 planner, I have 5 of them left, okay, and they're a beautiful planner. They feature all artwork from my Creative Barn Premium members. So not only do you have a great handy planner, you also have all this beautiful artwork you could stick on your fridge or whatever you wanted later. They're $29.95 plus postage. So if you do want one before the start of January, let me know. Like I said, I have 5 left. If you are a Essentials tier member of the Creative Barn, message me because you get a little discount. And then, of course, if you're a premium member and you have sold out of your ones or you just want a few more, let me know and you'll get them at cost price. All right. So, yeah, just message me, put a comment in here. I'll go back through comments later. Yeah, cause I don't want to share a link to purchase it because it all depends where you live. It depends if you're already a member, all the rest of it. So, but just so you know, I have 5 left. We did have 400 ordered of those planners, so that's pretty good. 5 left. If I don't sell them, then whoever's watching who's a family member of mine, guess what you're getting for Christmas? So. All right, what else did I want to mention as well? Don't forget the recordings for all of these draw-alongs we've been doing will be available to the end of December, and then they come down. They'll then only be available in my paid membership. So the Creative Barn, either tier, they'll be in there. I've got some notes there. And the other thing, I pretty much have set a date for the premium tier of the Creative Barn is opening next year at the probably the last week of January, and I think I'm going to do a coaching week, or a challenge coaching week I call it, like one I did right at the start. It was a wildlife safari coaching week, and we did 4 different sort of animal textures. So we did an eye, we did feathers, we did skin, and we did fur. So I think I'm going to do something similar to that, because that was a lot of fun. So that's how I launched whenever the premium tier, the doors open, I do a whole coaching week with that. So that's always a lot of fun. So look out for that. Make sure you're following this page, or you're in my my public Facebook group, which is Drawing Wildlife and Nature Beginners to Advance, and you'll definitely hear about it as it gets closer. Lots of fun to join in on. And then the doors open to the premium tier of the membership, which is only open twice a year. The essentials tier is open all the time, but the premium tier, which is where you get all the live sessions with me, is only open twice a year. And the price after this opening in January, the price is going up. So this will be your last chance to get in at a lower price, okay? But yes, like I said, I'll be advertising, so just keep that in mind. Around the end of January is when I'm thinking. Okay, so let me flip this camera. You're probably sick of hearing me talk now. So let's get started on our little robin, because it's super cute, and hopefully I do a good job of it. Now, I don't have it here, but I did put up, I had a couple of options. What I'm doing, which is what I originally had planned to do, was just a little robin like this, so you could print this out with the line art, okay? But I don't know what I did with it. I don't have it here. But one of my members, Odette, she added a little Santa hat to the robin. So if you've chosen to do the little Santa hat on him, then I would do that at the end anyway, and I'm not actually doing it on mine, but you could just refer back, if you're having trouble, refer back to last week. We did the little Santa hat on the Christmas tree. Same thing, totally same thing, just, but yeah. So if you are going to do the Santa hat, just don't put that dark on the robin's head. Let me show you. So see the very tip of his head is quite dark. If you're going to do the Santa hat, then of course you'll have the Santa hat print out and line art. So yeah, your head won't be coming up as high as mine. Okay, because you don't want to put, with pastel, like I've said a few times, if you want like the white of a Santa hat along there, then you don't want any darker pastel below it. It can get really muddy. So just little things like that you need to keep in mind. Okay, let's flip this camera. There we go. Oh, and I've got the other 2 draw-alongs just there. So these were the last 2 we did, of course. We did our bauble the first week, and then we did a little Christmas tree last week. So that's what I was saying. If you want to add the Santa hat to the robin, you can just refer back to how we did that one. Okay. If you're having any trouble. So let's move down here. Sorry, I'm just going to move this. Just trying to get the whole screen, whole thing in. Just have to check my computer. Hold on, just to make sure I've got the angle right. I'm just trying to get the whole okay, all right, now I can see. Oh, now I can see everyone's comments too. Awesome. Okay, that'll probably be right, because I want to do the background, so I wanted you to be able to see it all. Oh, stay there. Oh, Di, your video's playing up again. Okay, sorry. All right. So we're going to do the background. So I'm going to do that in pastel sticks. Okay, so we're going to go, it's quite light up here, and there's sort of a little bit of shadows in there. It's definitely a grey, of course. If you are having trouble picking colours, you can always make yourself a little colour picker. So it's essentially just a bit of a, you can do it on a white paper, but grey, a light grey is always good as well. And you just put some hole punches in there, and then you can sort of, you know, put it against your picture and isolate a colour. If you're struggling and you want to try and match really close. All right, what am I going to do? I'm thinking just a light grey. This one's a bit of a, I feel like it's a cool tone. So I'm just going to put that sort of over the background. I've got, this paper's so dirty, it's crazy. I'd like to try and get it behind the legs and everywhere. So this one's a, what are they called? Arts, is it Art Spectrum? I think it's Art Spectrum. I've totally gone blank on my brands. I'm pretty sure it's Art Spectrum. Extra soft pastel stick, and they come in like a rectangle block. I quite like them. I'm just trying to get some of this colour in behind here. Let's get a sponge tool, give it a little blend. So it's essentially just a really light grey. So I feel like the greys in the background, there is a little bit of a coolness to them, but I don't know, they're very neutral, so you could probably get away with warm or cool greys, but warm greys do tend to be very brown, whereas your cooler greys, of course, go more to the blue side. So this one here that I've got, it's a really pale grey, but I think it's a cool grey. Looks like it's going more towards the blue. It looks quite brown here because that background paper is coming through a bit. Okay, add a bit more up here. Kind of has a few little bits of a darker grey in it. I'm just sort of looking at what I've got. I've got a little bit more of a medium grey here. This is probably going to be too dark, but let's just put a few little marks in here, just so it's not fully just one colour. When that's blended in, it might look alright. So I don't want to, I mean, up to you, you could have it just a solid background, but what I'm seeing in my reference image is a few different little shades of grey and that in there. Like, so it'd be, it's like a lumpy snow in the background of it, which we don't get really that often here in Australia, so I think I've seen snow maybe twice in my life, so bear with me if it doesn't look real. I just want to, yeah, have a few little marks here and there, and you could even add a bit of white in there if you wanted some areas a bit lighter. So say up here, I felt it needed to go a bit lighter, then I could add a bit of white in there, and of course it's going to blend with what we've already got down. Maybe just there, I feel it's a bit lighter, maybe Okay, but it's little touches like this that is making it a little bit more realistic, and you're learning to see things in your reference image. Okay, the more you look at it, the more you'll start to see little things that you might not have thought were there, or you're probably wondering what I'm seeing. But the more you get used to really observing your images, references, you'll start to see these tiny little nuances that are a bit different to what you first thought. Okay, so he's definitely getting a little bit darker as he comes down here. I'm thinking I want to do all this bottom. Quite often I'll work sort of furthest away and come forward and stop about where he is standing, and then I do the front later. But I'm thinking it's small enough, I wouldn't mind adding the front bit now. I think I've got something going on here with my paper. It's probably been scratched maybe, because like I said, it was a bit of a dirty piece of paper here. I wasn't really looking after it very well, so it's the only problem. If you're not careful, you can damage your paper. But it's alright, it's up over there. I could probably crop it out later on. Okay, so I'm gonna put some of this grey down here as well, more around the edges. So this is that light grey I'm getting down. And then there's some darker grey in here. That's the one in there. And there's actually some dark brown happening in here, so I'm going to put a bit of that in there as well. Don't worry too much, it's not exactly like the picture. Dark there. And I even got a bit of green out here. It's like a bit of an olive green. It kind of looks nothing like the colour there, but I'm just putting a little bit in. I'm going to come back and add detail with our pencils later on. I just thought I'd get a little bit down here in the sticks. Just it makes it a lot quicker if you can add a fair bit with your sticks. Okay, so this is quite a darker grey through here. So, okay, now I'm going to use my blender to blend this all together a bit. I'm just being got to be a little bit careful in those really dark areas, so I'm trying to avoid them just at the moment. Okay, I'm just checking comments too, sorry. Does my thing keep flashing? I don't know, it's weird. I don't know if it's me or, I'm not sure. I keep feeling like I can see my screen flashing. But anyway, we'll get by. Okay. It's out of the corner of my eye, my computer screen. And I keep feeling like I can see it flashing. Just ignore it. Okay, I might get a different blender. It is, I don't know. It keeps going off and then back on, so I'm hoping that's not happening for everyone. It's got darker in there. So I'm just getting this pushed into the paper a little bit, that's all. But like I said, we can fix up the details with our pencils later on. Now I'm actually going to just use a bit of, maybe a bit of white where I want things a little bit lighter. Okay, back to my other sponge tool. Okay, that will do for now. We'll make them look sort of lumpy and bumpy later with our pencils and our sticks, but that's sort of got a base coat done. All right. It's all good, thanks Julie. It must just be my computer for some reason. It's flashing on and off. It's really distracting. Okay, so that's our background done. Now, I might try and move in a little bit on the robin. Now, to get him looking soft, we kind of also want to use our sticks and sponge tool, and then we're going to come back over with some pencil just to add a little bit of detail. Okay, so let's start at the top. I've got to try not to lose all of my details on here, but we could essentially do the tiny detail in pencil, but I've got this brown. I thought I might try and just sort of block in a little bit with this brown. It can be a bit tricky when you're working really small. So definitely if I was working larger, I would be using sticks without any problem. I can see it's a bit of a grey in there as well that mixes with the brown. And then this bit is brown. And then come in with some grey. So this is like a mid cool grey. I feel like that sort of comes down here and then starts to go lighter. Same with this side. My brown again. And this is grey in there. Okay, where else? I grabbed a bit of a yellow ochre type of colour for these edges here. I'm going to mix a bit of white in there. It's more of a cream. If you don't have these colours in sticks, I have a lot of sticks, so I'm pretty good with colours. But if you don't have them in sticks, you can do all of this just in pencil. Then we've got, let's see, comes a bit of a lighter grey down here. That's not really the greatest grey. It's probably a bit too... Got a mixture of warm and cool here. That would have been a better one, I think. And then he's very sort of light in the middle. So we'll definitely have some white in there. I'm going to mix our white up through here with our sponge. And then we've got that orange in here, haven't we? Let's just get, well, that's a bright orange. Just a little bit in there. I don't want to lose the detail of where I've got the eye and everything. Okay, let's get our sponge tool again. So I'm gonna start with the lightest area. And the idea here is I want to get it pushed into the paper. And I want it all fairly soft. Trying to avoid that red orange. And I'm making sure my strokes are going sort of in the direction that these feathers would be. Now I'm moving up into the darker area. Again, I'm still trying to avoid that eye area. We can just use pencils around those little details. But for our pencils to work on top of our sticks, we need to get this pushed in. I'm going to use my finger a little bit as well, get that pushed in even more. Okay, and I need a different sponge for that red, I think. So this is a clean sponge I've got. Okay. All right, so I've got my block in, and he's looking fairly soft and fluffy. Okay, now we can start with our details. And we can always come back with our sticks as well to make it softer and that as we're going. So, all right, let's start with our pencils. So I always like to start with the eye. So I'm going to try and zoom in a little bit more again. Try not to wobble it too much. Okay, so I might just need a bit of glassine to rest on so I'm not making a complete mess here. Just need to rearrange a little bit. Okay. All right, now his eye, kind of looks black, but where he's a bit lighter up towards the top. He's shaped a bit like a teardrop, isn't it? Comes around this way. Now there's no bright white area or reflection on this eye, so we can essentially block the whole thing in black. And then we can bring a lighter grey over the top, so he has a little bit of a light mark there. And he does come a little bit lighter. So that was, that light grey I'm using is 722. And what I sometimes like to do as well is add a bit of a blue to the eye. So let's see how it looks with a bit of 425 in there as well. God, it's hard getting a really sharp line, isn't it? It's a bit brighter out here. Okay. So tiny. All right, what have we got now? Let's move out from the eye. And I'm thinking, I did get, let me find what I grabbed. I grabbed an ivory, so 105. I grabbed a brown, whatever that is, 625, I think. And then I also grabbed an orange, which is 221. So that light cream, which is called ivory, is just sort of around that edge and underneath. So I'm just getting that in first. And then I might put a bit of brown. Again, I'm just using light pressure. Do a bit of brown sort of up through here, because it's quite a, it's a really red orange, isn't it? So that's why I was thinking of adding orange and brown together to get that. If you think you've got that colour already, just go with what you've got. But I didn't seem to have, like I've said before, half of my pencils I'm sure are missing. So there's a few little marks in there. Right, now let's bring our orange in and see if that works. Might need more of a red in there actually than just orange. Let me see what else I've got. Maybe even, I've grabbed a red, but maybe even 675 might be all right for this area as well. Just sort of having a little play, putting some down, seeing what it looks like. You could use that, 675. Or yeah, the brown and orange, which is sort of what I'm leaning towards. Okay, I'm just going to mark in, there's this really dark bit just in here. So just, let's get that marked in. I think it's about there. Be up there a bit more. I always like to try and just find some, little areas that stand out to me to give me and figure out where everything is sitting when I first start, because sometimes I do a fair few lines in my line art, but then other times I don't do many at all, in this case is not too many. Mark there, and it comes up, it sort of starts to go a bit darker up here. This is a 175 Pit Pastel I'm using at the moment. It's a really dark brown. And it sort of comes down here. And that comes down. I'm just trying to figure out where his little beak is. Okay, I think that's sort of where everything is sitting. Okay, I'm going to run a bit of that lighter brown. So the lighter brown is 625 through this area here. I'm going to bring some orange back into it. And I've already got that red underneath. And if you notice, I'm putting marks down in the direction that those feathers would be. Okay, let's get our orange out. Actually, this little beak comes up to a point in there. And then that dark, I'm going to bring a black in actually. Make it a little bit darker just in there. Just sort of really looking where it goes lighter and darker. So it sort of stops about there and starts to get lighter. It's not quite as orange. And in here we could put a bit more of that 675 in there maybe. It's a bit darker. I might even bring a bit of my ivory into this where it's lighter. Okay. Now his little head's a lot darker, so I'm going to bring the Pit Pastel in the dark brown. And again, I'm going with the direction that the little feathers would be. So I'm trying to create marks and texture how I think they would sit. So they're sort of following around the curve of his head. I think there's a touch of grey in there as well. Let's get some grey in. It's about there, I think it is. He goes a bit lighter as he comes around the side here. Not even lighten it a touch with that orange. So you can see the best way is to just slowly build it up with your different colours and little marks. That's all right there. It's a bit darker through here. I don't feel this orange is quite right. Maybe this one. Okay. And again, he's fairly grey down here, but he's quite dark, so I'm just going to add more of that pit pastel in. So his little feathers, I think, are starting to come this way. It's a bit like when you're trying to draw fur, you really got to notice direction. Let's get a lighter grey. Add a few little tips. There we go. A bit more orange maybe in here. So I'm just slowly working down. That looks a bit harsh there. Slowly working down his head. Let's try his little beak next. Okay. Need these pencils nice and sharp, that's for sure. Okay, so he's got a really dark area there. So I'm using the pit pastel to try and look at where the darks are. Here is quite dark. So I usually try and get my darks in first. And then let's look at the lights. So it's got like a little curved sort of shape there. Bring some grey in. Right. I think I've got it a bit big, so top of his beak, excuse me, top of his beak is lighter, and then down along here is lighter. So I sort of get the darks in and then I start to look at the lights. A little bit. I think I've got his beak a bit big. I think I might have it a little bit long. I think it needs to cut down here. I think this should be dark brown in there. Cut his beak down. I'm just working around the outside of the beak, trying to figure out the shape, because it was a bit too, adding too long. So you can work around the outside with the colours that are back there to help shape. Okay, so that's the good thing with pastel, is you can adjust it all. Let's get this lighter area down. So I'm just having a look at this, where it all goes. I think that line there comes up to meet his beak about there. It's a bit darker in under here. Alright, I think that's a better shape for his little beak. Just needs to fix up where it's light and dark now on the beak. So dark through here. There. It's darker under there. And then I'm just going to try and curve the top of that beak a bit better. All right. Okay. lighter there. Alright, let's move along past that. So we're going to try and bring little marks down into the body, and then we can come back to the beak if we need to readjust it in any way. So I've lost my mark there, but there is a, I'll see if I can show it here. There's this darker area under here. So I'm going to try and put a little bit of that in. I reckon it's probably, sort of comes through here. So I'm just, again, just using the brown 625. Let me come out a little bit. Oh. There we go. Let's see, sort of comes down here. Probably about there, I think. Let's get some more brown happening in here as well. I feel like my colour there is very red. But make sure you're, just like first strokes, that any strokes you do are going in that direction. A bit too bright, that, I think. Too light. Let's get some orange in there. Okay, I'm just going to bring some orange in as well where it's lighter. So this goes darker as it sort of comes around here. Let's get some more of the brown in. I'm just building it up in little strokes. Actually, that could go in there. Lighter over this side as well. We need to get some more dark in there. It's not dark enough in the shadows yet. I'm just using the ivory to put a few lighter strokes in, but I'm going to come back over with the orange because the ivory's too light. So I'm just sort of looking at where I can, what I can mix together to try and get the colour I'm after. I don't know whether it's because I'm lazy and I couldn't be bothered trying to find the right colours, but I do seem to limit my colour range and try and mix colours. On my actual drawing, so a bit browner in here. I'm just going to push up into there with my brown. This is my 625. So I'm pushing back up to try and create the little edges of the feather. Where's the darker? It's darker under here. I think I might even need to go darker than that. So I might even get in my Pit Pastel. Maybe. I'm going to put a few darker strokes in here with the Pit. So this is the 175 Faber-Castell Pit Pastel that I like to use. It's a really dark brown. And it'll hopefully help push that out a bit, make it look like it's sticking out a bit more than what's below it. Okay, now let's bring a bit lighter colour in. So the orange we can just bring in and come back over the top a little bit. And we need to be quite a bit darker, sort of brown down here, I think. Let's get our 635. Is it 625? I can't even see the number. 625. Let's get that a bit darker down in here. So we'll get it a bit darker and then we can bring light back over it. for now. Oh, hi Jennifer, you slept through your alarm, that's okay. It must be fairly early over there for you guys. I'm trying to decide, I need a lighter colour here. Lighter than this orange, but not as light as the ivory. Let's see, what's this one? Oh, that one might work. This is 215. So it's a little bit lighter than the normal orange. Just for this side over here, I felt like it needs to be a touch lighter. Just darkening that edge just along there. I feel like I've got it a bit too light. Okay, let's move on. I'm getting very distracted here. Okay. Let's get the rest of the shape of his little head. Well, not the head, the rest of his body as he comes around. Oop. That actually is quite dark right to there. And then he's dark down here. So the Pip Pastel, and I've got a dark grey 726. Those are pretty good in there. And then the brown we've been using, the 625. It's got some orange happening out here too. This is nice and dark out here. Actually, I've just messed that up because I've lost the shape. So it sort of comes up there and then cuts in and then up. So I wonder if I can get some of my stick. Comes down and out. It's a bit better. It's not quite as flat. Put some greys in here. I think we need it darker than that. Let's get some bit of pit in there as well. A bit of the 175 to just darken that up. Let's see, yep. Okay, and then our grey again. And again, I'm not going for like hyper-realism here, otherwise you'd have to really look at every single little feather stroke. I just like to give it the effect that they would be feathers. And it starts to go brown there. Just get a bit more of this grey down here. Under here. And there's definitely some dark in here. Okay, now let's get our light. We're going to use a light grey, sort of bringing that orange over the top a bit. Just put it too light. Let me get some brown in there. Okay, so let's get a light grey. So let's try this 722. essentially feathers sort of come out sort of so it's like a little lines sort of down this way, and then lines coming back the other way, so they've still got that little center bane. So it's not really like fur where it's all just one direction. Just sort of think about the fact that they sort of go two different ways because they all sort of meet in that center line. But as long as you sort of put some sort of in different directions to others, it will work fine. Just let me see how it comes over there. We need to go lighter as we come down. So we're going to grab a white. No, I might even go 110. And do a few a bit lighter. Let's get our white now on this one. Just make the edges here fluffy. Bringing the feathers out over the top of the background through here. We need to add a few darker ones into this white, so 722. Just going to put a few marks in the white, not many, because we want it to still look really white in there, so we'll just get a few little sort of fluffy feather marks. Just push this white up into the orange. Got one up here, it's a bit wider. I feel like I still need some darker ones in here. go with a bit of, let's see, a bit of that orange coming over the top of that white a little bit there. So it blends in. Just looked a bit funny sitting there. And some of our lighter orange down into here. Okay, what's that bit doing? Need some marks in here. Okay, now let's move out onto this area here, and I feel like there's greys coming out into it. Very soft and fluffy, but we still need to get a few darks in. Okay, what colour can we use here? This one's a little bit different because I don't really have that colour. Let me see. What have I got here? No, maybe that one. What's this? 685. That's similar. So we want it coming out. It's really fluffy. Put a bit of this down, and we might just blend it up into the greys. And then we've got our ivory here. We could add a few little marks. It's quite sort of blurry as it gets further away. Okay, I think that will be okay like that. Again, we try not to get too hung up on little areas. So let's try the other side. It's looking for birdseed. Whoop. Okay. So now this side again, we want to get our dark browns in up here. Try and look at our shape. Make sure he's nice and dark back there. Shape goes, this red comes, it sort of comes in like that. And then it comes down. and out. And then the feathers start to cover that. Okay, and let's get our oranges out here a bit more. A lot of pencils in my hand at the moment. Okay, so I want to get some darks happening in here. So I'm going to go with my grey, my dark grey, which is 726. You can push that up into that edge there of the orange and red. I'm just looking at where I can see it's darker. And under here. It's a little bit into there, into that brown. I think it needs to be darker up here, so let's get some of that pit pastel back in there with the grey mixed in. Okay, now let's get our lighter grey, so our 722. Let's start putting some little feather strokes. If it's looking too flat, then you need to up the contrast. Getting lighter as we come down, so I'm going to bring out the 110. So what I mean by looking flat is you've got too much dark or too much light. So for me, some of these areas here are a bit flat because I haven't left a big enough gap between my light strokes. So say up here looks flat to me, so I need to put some darks in between. And then down through here we might get our white. Oh, I keep losing my picture. Let's get our white as we come down. Come over the top of some of these darks with some little fluffy feather strokes. To use our 722, was it, I think, to come over the top of the background, because the bird's actually darker than the background, as you can see where his little feathers come across. Okay, let's get our 685, which was this sort of yellowy colour. A few marks in here. There's actually some greys happening up here. There's our ivory. Lighter as he comes down. It's a bit flat as well. Needed something else added to it. Alright, what have I got here? I just want to soften that there. Whoop. Okay, let's go down to his little legs. Now these are just in the Pip Pastel, really dark brown. They're very skinny. There. All I'm doing is looking for shapes, because I've essentially lost where my feet are. And then this one kind of comes out and up. Sort of up there. This one is foreshortened, so it's sort of coming forward. And that one there, you really can't see much other than his claw. And then this side, again, in behind there. It gets wider as it comes out. And again, just a claw there. Mark there. Okay. And then we can, if you want to add any detail to them, even though they don't really have much, you can bring in, no, that one's, can bring in some lighter colour on the one side. This is just ivory, just to give it a bit of detail. Usually little birds' feet and claws and that, they don't really have a lot of detail, depending on the image, of course, but I find all you need is to block in dark and then just add a few highlights just sort of along the top, maybe where the sun would be hitting, is all it needs, because we're not really focused on those at all. I just want to make sure we have got them planted up under here, so we can bring some feather over the top of them so they look like they're going up behind. Alright, let's zoom out and let's get this bottom bit finished. Oh, let me try and get it in the right spot. Sorry guys if I'm making you wonky. Okay, I'm just looking, this looks wrong here. We need some feathers to soften that a little bit. Let's just that edge. I know it's quite sort of sharp on the picture, but I don't know, looking a bit strange to me. Okay. Alright, so this bottom bit here, let's go with some, just grab a couple of greens. So we can, I'm just thinking, I might bring greens over the top. Yeah, that one's going to work. But I think I want to do a bit more stick work down here now, without, you know, without blending it. I just want to rough, especially these bits of dark. We want these edges, we're creating texture, I suppose, of dough is what we're trying to do. Little bits and pieces. Okay, what else have I got? About that brown I initially blocked in with. Blocked the bird's head in with this brown, so let's add a bit of that in there. We're not too worried about detail because we want the focus to be up on this little fella. So So I'm happy for this to be fairly sort of blurry. Do a little bit more. Sorry, it can be blurrier as it comes away, but I'm thinking I'm going to keep some of this like it is and not actually soften it. Some of the ones out here maybe we could soften as it comes away a bit. The ones sort of under him I'd like to keep fairly sharp. That's that bit. Go a bit darker. Okay, let's get our white in. So I want the white of the snow sort of lumpy. We've got here, let's put a bit of grey in under here. Okay, and now we can get our greens. So I just need to break that up a little bit. Okay, we can, if you want to add some greens here and there. Again, I'm not too concerned with them being too detailed. No, you don't have to add these at all if you don't want. I just quite like these bits of green in it. And then, there we go. Bit of brown through here too. Okay, I think I'm quite happy just to leave it like that. We've just got these little details. You can go as detailed and elaborate as you want down here, or you can just keep it. You could keep it just really blurry. You didn't even have to actually probably have anything under here if you didn't want to. You could have just had it really soft snow. I did an Arctic fox that he was just soft snow that he was standing on. It looked really nice. So totally up to you how you want to go, or you could go really, really detailed and add lots, but just keep in mind, if you are adding detail, just only make it sharper detail, sort of in the same focus as the bird. So if you picture them on the same plane, I suppose. So the bird's standing here, so around his feet would be focused, but then as we come further away, of course, it's going to be really blurry, but then as we come forward, it's going to start to get blurry again. Okay, and that's just going to really keep the focus on the bird if we just have him sharp. Okay, I'm just trying to clean up this background. The problem is when you're using the pencil and that, I'm constantly blowing on it. And then that, if you've got a light background, of course, that ends up creating a bit of a mess. But you can go back through with your tool if you want, your sponge, and just neaten up any background bits, or if you can get your finger close enough. I'm trying to do it that way. Make sure it's pushed right up to the edge. Okay, I think I'm quite happy with that. Just zoom out properly so you can see the whole thing. Oh, jeez. I'm really struggling with this camera today. But anyway, so that's my little robin. Now, if you wanted to, like I said, one of the reference images I gave you did have the little Santa hat. So you can do that. So that is all three of them done now. Oh, let me move my light. So we've got our bauble, our Christmas tree, and a little Christmas robin. Okay, so they've been great fun. Let me just spin the camera back. There we go, back to me. There we go. So I hope you've enjoyed these three little lessons over the last 3 weeks. Like I said, I love doing draw-alongs. They're just lots of fun. And I'll get the equipment list, that's the word I'm thinking of, the equipment list up, so what colours I've used for this robin, up just like I have done with the last two. So if you haven't been able to do any of these and you do want to give them a go, they're only A5, so they don't take too long. What's the time now? Nearly, if you allow a couple of hours each time. I'm a little bit quicker maybe. If you're a complete beginner, it of course will take you a bit longer. But it also depends how much detail you want to add on how long you spend as well. But these will all be available to rewatch on my page here. They'll be featured at the top. If you're watching from the Facebook group Drawing Wildlife and Nature, they'll be pinned to the top. So the recordings and the equipment list, okay? And they will be there till the end of December. Okay, so you've still got, I don't know what the date is, the 19th, so you've still got, 10 days, something like that, 12 days? I know Christmas is in there, so you're going to be busy. But then they go into my, they're already in my membership, the Creative Barn. So anyone in the membership, you can watch them whenever you want. Okay, but anyone who's not and wants to do these for free, you have till the end of December. Okay, again, I'll just mention, if you want a 2024 planner made from all my members with all their beautiful drawings in there, let me know. I've got 5 of those left. And also the doors are opening to my premium tier of the Creative Barn at the end of January, and I'll be doing a whole week, coaching week, where we'll do some draw-alongs. It'll be a lot of fun, so hopefully you can join me for that as well. Even if you don't decide to join the membership, that is totally fine, but definitely join me for the coaching week, because you will learn a lot. If you don't know much about pastels, you will definitely learn a lot. I also usually talk about pricing and framing and all that sort of stuff as well through coaching week. So, all right, just let me double check the comments. Hold on, I might take you off of this stand so I can go over to my computer, so you're not looking at the back of my head. Okay, let me just have a look. All right. Oh, thanks, Farley. All right, I don't think I've got any questions happening here. I haven't since been with carrying the screw, resting in hospital on your knee. Oh, hopefully, Jeanette, your knee's doing all right. Marianne, I saw a tip the other day: paint matte, clean nail polish over the gold on the pencils makes it dull and you can read it. Oh, thanks, Marianne. That's an awesome tip. Oh no, if you don't know, Carbothello pencils, which are these ones, their number is written in gold, and they're really hard to read, and they also wear off. So quite often, one tip is to, I don't have it, is to rewrite the number and put it on. But Marianne just shared a tip that if you paint, what was it, clear nail polish over it, then it makes it easier to read. So that's a good one. It's amazing how much patience you need to build layers, definitely. And that's why I like the pastel matte paper. It's great for building layers. So, what's recording? Yes, Karen, we are having our creative play in the premium membership. So that's on tomorrow, so I'll see you there. All right, so thanks for watching me. Again, this is the last of these draw-alongs, which have been so much fun. I'll post my finished picture up as well for everyone. And yeah, hopefully if you're not in my membership and I don't see you before Christmas, then have a wonderful Christmas, and I hope Santa brings you everything you're after. I hope Santa brings you art supplies. That's what we all want. So anyway, yeah, have a great time with all your friends and family as well. Make sure you take time to relax, and hopefully you can fit a little bit of creative time in there as well. So I will see you all later. Like I said, next Tuesday chat, I'm having a break because it's Boxing Day, but I will be back the following one for a chat on art. So, all right, thanks everyone. Bye.